Until about a month or two ago, I started to engage with people, so that's my first encouragement to those of you guys that kind of feel like this is so complicated and there's so many things going on, like how can you really decide what's right and what's wrong? I challenge you guys to engage because that's the only way that you're going to know how to view these things and how to respond. So just engage with people from both sides, get to know where they're coming from.
We have to start the discussion right now, today in this university, and spread it no matter who we support, whether it be Palestinians or Israel. The point is that we need to start this discussion of what's happening. We need to start this discussion of what's happening to the Palestinians and this discussion of what's happening to the Israelis. And we find out for our own logic and our own brain to see who is in the right and who is in the wrong for yourself without any bias.
Answered in Latin, and he said de omnibus dubitandum, which translated means to doubt everything. So I think that's a good attitude. So go and look yourself. Just enter into your Google search the words peaceful settlement of the Palestine question. And if you enter those words in your Google search, you'll get the annual UN resolution. And the resolution, the terms are what I just presented to you, and the votes every year the same. The whole world on one side, Israel, the United States, and a few South Pacific islands on the other side. So the past year, the vote was 164-7. The whole world on one side, Israel, the United States, Australia, Nauru, Palau, the Marshall Islands, and Micronesia on the other side. For those of you who don't know Nauru and Palau, without insulting small countries, their total populations can fit in the empty seats in this room.
The more important question is the following, is that what you're objecting to the Palestinian experience, and you want us to accept Israel terminology and Israel construct relative to its control mechanism for the Palestinians. And for this, I would say, you have to think about how the Palestinians experience their daily life. When they wake up, they see a big wall 20 feet high. They don't call 40 miles down to say, is there anybody there? Do you experience a wall? No, we experience a wall. Second, their ability to move around is governed by the wall. So, for example, if you're in Calcadia, you're experiencing a wall. There's only one entrance. That one entrance controls 60,000 population. That 60,000 population, that's their experience, that's their consciousness. Maybe if you actually have the ability to ask the Israelis to remove the wall and have it all as a fence, then we could have a common reference. We say it's a security fence that Israel has, and therefore we could say that 100% of it. And maybe we could go further, like the Berlin Wall was taken down. Maybe we could come to say walls separate people more so, and we could ask collectively that this wall is not apt for the human life, it's not apt for building relations between people. So if you want a peace with the Palestinians, you can't treat them like animals, because that's how the Palestinians
In 1948, I said, when Israel became a state, I was conflicted about whether, and on one hand, I felt that I was glad that there was a place for those who survived the Holocaust to go to because they perhaps didn't want to or couldn't go back to where they originally came from. But on the other hand, I remembered my parents' anti-Zionism. And I felt or was feared that somewhere down the road, no good would come of it. And what that might be, I couldn't possibly imagine then. But since then, I have seen what has been experienced firsthand, especially after I was in the West Bank in 2003 and 4 more times since then, what the Israeli government and the Israeli military are doing to Palestinian people and Palestinian land. And none of it is constructive. Every single act that they have performed since then and continue to is destroying Palestinian, or trying to destroy Palestinian life and Palestinian culture. But one thing that they apparently do not understand is that the Palestinian people are a very resilient people.
if I could challenge the apartheid government of South Africa, and there are still reasons to stand up to the current government in South Africa as well, if I can challenge the government of Britain for its imperialist policies toward Northern Ireland, why